Welcome back, guys. Thanks for joining me for another beer review. Hope you're well, hope you are all good and you've had a good Monday. Mondays, so much hard work, and they don't suppose it helped. Well, to be honest, I did have a couple of pints last night, but fresh as a daisy, but didn't sleep very well. But Mondays are always hard work, and that is it. So yeah, hope yours was okay. Anyway, we're back with another beer review now, and we're heading off to Poland in this one. And this is one that on the way back from Krakow in January. We're in March when I'm recording this, and this will be coming up the end of March. Yeah, it was sort of like the back end 25th of January we were coming home. While we were in the airport, the missus went into a shop and had a nosy and found this little box set from this brewery. So there was 3 beers in there, all in like a lovely little gift thing, and it come in at about £12 for 3 beers. 500ml beers. I've done the first one, can't remember what it was. That sounds bad, doesn't it? So it's Hefeweizen, I think. And we're taking a look at this brewery's second beer, and this is only the second beer I've had from this brewery. I'm gonna try and pronounce it, but I'm gonna have no luck with it. And it's from Browary, Gorniczo, hutniczy, something like that. And this is a bottle of their red ale. It's 500ml. There we go, there's the label. It's 500ml bottle, and it's coming in at 5.7%. Like I said, 3 bottles are about 12 quid, so we are looking about 4 quid for that, which I don't think is massively extortionate, to be honest. In a gift pack, Polish craft beer, in an airport, 4 quid. I think us UK people get used to these sort of prices. So yeah, hopefully it's going to be good. It's got 3 awards, one in 2021, God knows what that says. 1 in 2022 Iberian Awards, bronze, and it got gold in the Frankfurt International Trophy, and that was 2023. So hopefully it's going to be decent. So there we go. Another quick look at the label. There we go. There is the crown. An apology to all the Polish and me slaughtering their language. No doubt Christoph from Ale Degustations will come and join in and tell me how to say it again, and I'll say I'm not even going to try and say it because it's just too much hard work. So let's stop talking. I don't have one of their glasses. A red ale. They recommend putting in a nice pint glass, preferably a dimple one, because it's better for the malty notes apparently. So let's get cracked open and see what we get. Come out the fridge about 20 minutes ago. 2nd of the 1st, 25. Ooh, it's out of date. It would have been out of date when a bloody thingy. Maybe that was when it was bottled. We'll see. Anyway, let's get it open, see what we get. I can't imagine they would have had it there, would they? So, like I say, red ale isn't the sort of style that red ales, red IPAs is not a thing that I'm a massive fan of myself. See if there isn't going to be anything in there, but I won't fill it up too much for now. So there we go. There is still quite a bit in there. Looks very much, look at that, it's got that sort of copper look. For me, looking this side, it's looking a lot like a bitter, if I'm honest. Slight haziness to it. It's darker on the camera to you. It's looking very much sort of copperish, slightly hazy, bit of carbonation going up, and just a thin white head on top, which once again you do end up with a bitter, that sort of thing. So let's try and give it a swirl without spilling any and get our nose in and see what we get. Yeah, and it's amazing, right? I'm saying it looks like some bitters we get over here, and yet on the nose, that any red IPA, red ales, you always get that aroma, and that is what I'm getting off this. Very malty. There is a touch of caramel toffee. Slightly sweet, does smell nice, but the difference is there's not that hoppy bite that you might get from a bitter. Yeah, but it smells decent, it really does. So I'm going to stop sniffing. I'm going to top the glass up. I'm not going to be shy and try and be clever. Let's try and get some head on this beer. There we go. That should look nice now. Look at that. Beautiful looking beer. It was just Baz's bad pouring. There is still some in the bottle, but let's dive in on Browary Gorniczo, sorry, that one. The Red Ale, 5.7% ABV. It does look like a really nice beer there. Let's dive in. Cheers. Yeah. Absolutely spot on for a red ale. Absolutely spot on. And you know what? It's got that flavour that I'm not massively keen on. It's got to be said. But my word, it's done well. Like I say, that red side, you know, to red IPAs or red ales, they have this flavour. They have this sort of like big malty note, but there's a twang in it for me that I always find that I'm not particularly keen on. It's got to be said, this is probably one that suits me more than others. It's really decent, it's got to be said, but I'm quite surprised because it's not a style I'm keen on generally, but it's certainly ticking boxes for me, and I can certainly appreciate the beer. So let's stop talking again. We'll top her up again. We'll get the rest in there. It's a fantastic looking beer, it's got to be said. What a great looking beer. Excuse me. Body's nice, all right. Would you expect it to be a little bit heavier, maybe? I don't think so. I think the weight to the beer is good, but it does drink kind of light, but there is a good weight to this beer. 5.7. Now, I know in the past maybe I've probably said, you know, it's 5.7, it's getting near 6%, it needs to be heavier. Maybe I'm sort of getting used to sort of like bodies on certain beers and that, and I think this is a perfect body really for that sort of ABV. It is nice and weighty. Carbonation's there, not massively busy. You do feel it, and it does give it a little spiky edge. You sort of notice the hops in there from that carbonation. It is very smooth, it's got to be said, and it has got a lovely mouthfeel. Like I say, you do feel that carbonation, but it doesn't really roughen it up too much. It doesn't ruin it. It's pretty damn smooth. It's a proper real ale as well. I mean, something like this, I mean, we might say in this country, oh, well, you'd expect something like that. I actually think there's an awful lot of, you know, even over here, I don't think you would get something of that quality over here, even though it's a sort of beer, I would say, style that is very much UK sort of brewed. So that, for me, straight away, just because it's a Polish one, I think they've done a fantastic job of it. I'm going to get onto some tasting notes because I'm talking a lot once the gas comes up. And yeah, there's just something, the more you drink it, the more it sort of feels like a bitter. In a sense, it's malty on the start. You do get that big maltness. The hoppy notes are coming through, and it does give it a bitterness, but it gives it a different bitterness or a different sort of hop feel to what we have in the UK, which doesn't surprise me. They're not going to be using UK hops. I suspect they're using different hops that give you all that hedgerow thing, because it's not trying to be a bitter in a sense, but it's giving you that sort of feel. But it's hard to describe it. There's still that red side to it, I'm going to say, that sort of draws it back in from coming across very much like a bitter. The sweetness is sort of that, there is a sweetness there, but I think the more you drink it, the hoppiness takes over and just brings in a bit more bitterness and takes that sweet side to it. Slight caramel note, slight toffee note. Like I say, I think that is starting to fade the more you drink of it, and then you get that very I'm trying to think, is it just the malts, or what that makes this a red ale in a sense. I'm not going to be able to read anything on there, but there's just something you get from a red ale, and it leaves you with, rather than other malts are slightly different for it to be a red ale, but it leaves you with that sort of taste. So it starts off malty, you do get that little bit of sweetness. The hoppiness is there as well. You get that bitterness, and it ends with that red ale taste, if you know what I mean. And yeah, I mean, to be fair, it's not, as I've said, it's not a style I will levitate to, but it's got to be said, I can appreciate this is really well done. I actually think that's a really well brewed beer, even though it's not the sort of thing I go for. And again, it is just that red ale finish that sort of just puts me off. It just it just doesn't do it for me in a sense. But like I say, that is really well made and a perfect example of a red ale in my opinion. 5.7%. Do you get that? I think you just know it's a bit of a ballsier number, but I wouldn't say you get any over the power and feel of alcohol in there, but you do know it is that little bit stronger. A cold night, I think I'm probably serving this too cold, if I'm brutally honest, which is no surprise because it's only been out of the fridge for half hour or so, if that. Like I say, in the fridge is something like 4 to 5 degrees. This probably really needs to be at about 8, personally, in my own opinion, and I think you'd maybe even get more out of it. But it's a cracking beer, it's got to be said. It won't be the sort of beer that I'd be rushing back to, but if you like your red ales, that is a fine example of the style. So yeah, a massive thumbs up from me, it's got to be said, even though I personally won't be drinking it. But anyone that likes this sort of beer will love this, I think. So if you are lucky enough to pop over to Poland or somehow see this in the UK, definitely give it a try. It's a beer well worth picking up. Is it worth the £4? I think so. Where are you going to get more or less a pint for £4 in the UK, especially something that sort of quality? I don't think you will. That's it. So hope you've enjoyed the video. Thank you all for watching. If you've had it before, let me know your thoughts on it. And I will see you again soon on another beer review. Cheers.